In today's video, we're going to walk you through step by step doing a piston and ring replacement in my KTM 300.
Hell yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're in the garage. We're doing finally a piston and ring replacement on my 24 KTM 300. This thing has 215 hours. This engine's bone stock, just like it's run off the showroom floor. I haven't touched it. I've replaced air filters, replaced oil a bunch of times, and that is it. That's all the love this bike has got. So to have 215 hours on a single piston and rings, and it still seems to be performing well, I mean, that is honestly unbelievable to me. I come from moto, we're doing pistons every 10 to 15 hours. So to even fathom getting 215 hours out of one set of piston rings is just, yeah, it's a whole different world to me. So we're finally gonna dig into this thing. I'm really interested to see what the piston looks like, what the cylinder looks like, measure the ring gap to see if they're in spec still or out of spec. And I'm just doing this now because, I mean, it's 215 hours. I mean, I know guys have pushed it to 250. I've even heard of a guy 300, but I'm just not there. We're out in the mountains, we're out in remote places. I just don't need an engine failure just due to lack of maintenance, even though these things hardly require any maintenance. So yeah, I'm excited to dig into this thing, take you guys through it. I'll be kind of learning with you. I've done a bunch of TPI piston swaps. I've done a bunch of 4-stroke 250F top ends, transmissions, all that kind of stuff, but I've never done a TPI or TBI, sorry, top end. So I'll be kind of learning as I go. I mean, 2-strokes, they're fairly basic, they're fairly easy. That's what's so nice about these things is, trust me, if I can work on it, you can work on it. So let's get through this. Let's dig into this bike and yeah, see exactly what it's going to look like because yeah, I mean, like I said, 215 hours to be doing this now. I mean, you can't complain at all. So yeah, enough babbling. Let's start digging into this bike. First things first, we're going to remove the seat and we're going to disconnect the battery. Now, I've seen some conflicting reviews, whatever you want to call them, that you don't need to disconnect it. Some say you do just because we're unplugging a few sensors to get to the cylinder and remove everything. So for the time it takes to disconnect it, we're just going to go ahead and then we're safe either way. Get that out of there. Should be good. So next step would be to remove the tank, remove the plastic, remove the exhaust, just get all this stuff out of the way so you can get access to the motor and clean it all up before we tear into this thing. So to do this, you'll need an 8mm, a 6mm, and a Torx 30 bit, and obviously a spring puller for the exhaust. So yeah, we're gonna grab this stuff and yeah, start getting this all out of our way. You don't have to remove the plastic from the tank if you don't want. You can leave the shrouds on and lift it all as one piece, but I just had these on because I had my chainsaw mount on, but the next ride we will not be sawing, so I'll just put my normal plastic back on. Plus, honestly, it's a little easier getting it on when you're not trying to piss with the shrouds and everything, lift it back on. So for the time it takes, it's just nice to just take them off and then don't have to worry about them. Let's pull this tank bolt out. And then we just got to disconnect the fuel line and we should be able to pull the tank off. Get in here, it's quick and easy, just one push usually. And then just take this vent cap off. And then yeah, you should be able just to lift this tank right off and out of the way. Now that we got the bike cleaned up the best we could, the next step will be to drain the antifreeze and remove the couple of radiator hoses that we'll need to be able to get the head and cylinder off the bike. Now you just come down here, it's an 8mm. Of course you're already wanting to spill out of there. Actually, we're gonna grab a funnel. Coolant is drained, so now we're going to remove this crossover hose as well as the one coming off the head, and then we'll be on to the next step. There. Perfect. That's out of our way. 4 will be removing your electronic power valve. So you just want to come in here, maybe a couple zip ties on this outer cover / guard. There, get that one. Try and get that one. So we got both of those. There's a bolt. Is there something I'm missing here? No, just kind of got to lift it up and off. That's it. Up and off and throw the bolt all over the place. Usually helps you pretty good here. So you're gonna do that. And unclip. It's got one of these little safety clips, it looks like. There. Get that off. I've been just stowing all the wires up in that little rubber boot. Stays on there. Take these 2 off. There, and we just want to make sure these positions stay the same so when we put it back on, everything lines up. Next will be to disconnect this sensor. I believe I got to pull this plastic guard housing off to access the clip. At least I think so. We'll let you know here in about, I don't know, 5 seconds maybe, if we're lucky. Well, we're gonna go ahead and remove these top engine mounts and then it'll be a little bit easier to get in there and see exactly what I'm doing, because I'm not gonna lie, I am not quite sure on that one. Now these top engine mount bolts are Torx 45. We're just gonna break them all loose here. Yes, I know, we take out the top one for some extra flex characteristic in the chassis, so in my case, I only got to remove 2 on each side. Do that. Oh, are they the same length? Yeah, so same bolt, so not too big a deal. I'm just thread both into here for now. There. Now we can get in there and see a little better on what the heck the holdup is here. Not the damned, okay, there we go. We got progress. We got that off. Now that I can, oh yeah, okay, so that's simple enough. Boom. Yeah, next would be just to remove the head, remove the cylinder, and yeah, get a first look at the piston and rings and everything in this thing with 215 hours on it. So I'm kind of interested to see what it looks like, or maybe afraid, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, we'll get in there. I believe these are all 13 mils. Try and at least loosen them up in a crisscross pattern. There. Oh. The dome's still on there. Well, shit. Okay. Well, we got the dome off. Just had little tappity tap to get it off here. It was definitely hard. I've never had that before. I'm gonna pull these 4 engine or cylinder nuts off, get this off, get it on the bench, and do some inspection. We're gonna get the cylinder or the piston down in the cylinder so it's easier, less clearance to get off. I'm gonna have to remove this cover to get this off. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to. Gasket off of that. Oh. I think that's supposed to be gray. She's a little dirty, a little gummy. Come to Papa. Just, yeah. Victory. That's what it bought us. Is a victory. And actually, I'm pretty happy with how that cylinder is looking. I'm gonna take that gasket off. Gonna stuff a rag in around the connecting rod, so when my favorite piston clips that ever existed might go flying, they don't go and drop into the cases. Let's get this clip out. But yeah, definitely make sure you do your best to cover all of this so she doesn't go for a little tumble. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, you can be such a... There! So we got that piston clip out. We'll just push this through. Oh, come on. Just can't get quite deep enough. God dang. Isn't that always a problem? But I mean, not for KTM owners, right? Usually we get too deep, right? Like if you're a Sherco or Beta rider, getting deep that's your guys' issue, not us. We always make it happen. Grab this little needle bearing, get a new one of those, and boom, my job will be to try and get this leftover gasket off the face here. It'll be a bit of a piss around. Okay. Well guys, we have everything on the bench here. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see that, but on the intake side of the piston, there is a pretty good mark. Something got pushed down, and I don't know if you can hear that, but like it's rough. Like it's got a definitely good lip on it. So other than that, it looks good. A little bit of stuff here on the exhaust side, but I'm like, okay, well that's not good because I can't see how there's not damage on the intake side of the cylinder, and we're gonna clean it up a little better. But I mean, I can't feel anything. Like it's smooth as can be. I don't know how there's not scarring on it. And on the intake side or the exhaust side, there's like tiny, I can't feel it, but you can kind of see a little bit. But honestly, this cylinder looks really good for 215 hours. My TPI bike at 120 hours looked worse than this one does at 215. So super pumped by that. We got to clean all this up. It's all grimy. I forgot to show you, but I put the rings in and we checked them, and they're actually still like, they're just outside of spec. Which is actually surprising. I expected them to be quite a ways out of spec with that many hours on them, but new piston. We're gonna measure thickness of the gasket, so we make sure, because when you get the kit, you get all these different base gaskets. Make sure we get the proper thickness, deck height, and yeah, so just a bunch of cleaning to do, which is always my favorite part. And yeah, this is all good, but yeah, got all this gasket off, so we're gonna get to her. A lot of guys use a razor blade when there's little chunks and you can just kind of get underneath them and lift them off. It's not bad, but I hate doing this with a razor blade because you can gouge it pretty good. Where this is just plastic, hard plastic. Now we got the cylinder cleaned up, and yeah, I can't believe how good it looks. I don't know if you can see that here. How good it looks for that many hours, and with that having that chunk on the piston, I just cannot believe in what condition that thing still is. So now we're gonna pull these little O-rings out. We cleaned a bunch of the gasket off back on the bottom, spit it out on the bottom of the cylinder and on the top of the cases. So that's all done. Now if I can just get this O-ring out. Oh, there. And then, all right, come on. The new ones here, I usually like to take a little bit of oil or grease. Just helps them stay in there. That one you're probably not going to need much help because it's deep enough groove, where this one can sometimes be a pain to get to stay. Come on. Grease never hurt nothing, right? It's good for everything. Okay, so that's done. Now, just for, well, maybe we'll measure the base gasket after. So I have that fresher in my memory. But now we will take our new piston. We've got our new wrist pin here with 2 clips. And I'm really hoping in my toolbox I still have one of the easy clips, because anyone that's done a piston swap on a KTM knows how absolute nightmare they can be. So I'm hoping I still have one unused in my drawer here. So that is the hope. But yeah, we'll at least try and get one of these installed in the piston now, and then, because I highly doubt I have two. I'll be happy if I have one. So we're gonna have to wrestle with one, but at least I can wrestle with it on the bench, and I don't have to wrestle with it on, oh, look at that baby, this thing. That's what you want. Don't want to wrestle with it in the bike. It's a nightmare. So I remember after the first one or two top ends I did in the TPI bikes, I definitely got these, and they make life a lot easier. Just go to your home. Oh my lordy! It's in. Go over, there's an arrow, so that goes towards the front of the bike or your exhaust. So we're gonna put that in. We got, where's our wrist pin here? There's our old wrist pin. Here's our we're gonna put a new needle bearing in the connecting rod. Yeah, so here's our new wrist pin. Now I start getting some oil here, so we can lube everything up. Come over to the bike. Like I said, we got that all cleaned up nice. And yeah, we're just gonna get this, get that in there. I'm gonna definitely want to get some rags in there. We're just gonna lube our wrist pin up here and go get our piston. There we are. Oh, and also the rings on my piston were already installed in the kit. But see these, there's these little pins right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's kind of where you want your gaps, wherever the heck, wherever this little fella went. Kind of got turned around since I was trying to get that clip in. So yeah, so that's where they want them. Front of the bike's there. And we will go ahead and put our piston on. That's in. Now we're gonna measure our gaskets, make sure we get the proper height of gasket on for the new setup here, whatever you want to call it, and then we'll put the cylinder on and all that stuff. We took, oh, here's another chunk. I kind of did this beforehand just because it's a little bit of time consuming, but you just take your base gasket that you took off. We got 0.58, so it'll be 0.6 probably, and then you got to go along and measure all the different thicknesses of the base gaskets they provide you, and then you got to kind of mix and match to try and get close to that. So this one we got, let's see here, 0.63. So the time this compresses, it should be pretty close. So yeah, I wish they would just mark on the bags what they are, because that'd be super simple. But nope, you have to go along and kind of measure them all out yourself and match them up the best you can from there. So we'll just get over here. And then obviously make sure you put these on correctly. You just kind of go by the coolant ports here. And that one. So yeah, so we got our base gaskets on there. And it'll be time for the cylinder. Usually I take a bit of oil and run a bunch of oil in there, kind of lubes it up as we slide the piston in. The battle begin. Try and get, hopefully the bike's still in gear. Yeah, perfect, get it down there. Because I kind of had to bring it out sideways if I remember right. What am I hitting? I don't know what I'm hitting. But I'm hitting something. Oh. Oh my gosh. That was fun. Yes. Fun maneuvering to get that in there between the fan, the oil tank, this exhaust flange, this guard for the rad guards. Like, yeah, that was definitely some added MacGyvering than if that was just a completely stock bike. Grab our 4-cylinder stud bolts and we're gonna get them on there. Hand snug them here. And then grab a torque wrench and be 50% good and 50% bad. And you probably already know what I'm talking about if you've done any of these before yourself. So it calls for 28 foot-pounds. Oh boy. Well, get an extension. Don't be that guy. And torque these up. Put our power valve cover on this side back on. We got new gaskets. And then we actually got to put the actuator on the other side yet. For your cylinder head bolts, I got it marked down. Yeah, 20 foot-pounds. Clean these valve covers up here, all gunked up, and put them back on the bike. Got new gaskets for that. So we'll be doing that here now. Same thing, should fit in these little dowel holes, should snap on nicely, like right flush and smooth. There. Torque these. Coolant lines next. We got these frame braces put on. Okay. Beautiful. Finally, we're going to be able to put the tank back on, the plastic, connect or hook the battery back up, and then we're going to have to do relearn or calibrate on our power valve. So yeah, so we'll get all that thrown on and then fingers crossed that everything works out. There. And we got our fuel pump hookup. Get our fuel pump. And we'll do our ground there. And then before I put actually it all back together, if I'm smart, we're gonna do the relearn and start it, hopefully. Now, so I think hopefully we are successful. Now the moment of truth. Come on, baby. Oh. Apparently we're in like third gear, but it's running. We're gonna let that idle for a minute here and yeah. Guess we can, probably not a bad idea. Well, I didn't hear scraping and crashing and banging, so that's awesome. So now we're gonna put the plastic on, just do the last little bit, and then we're gonna just warm up, go for a little spin, and yeah. Well guys, that wraps this video up. The bike is back together. The power valve's recalibrated. We did a test fire, checked the coolant, went through a few bolts. And yeah, just kind of did a look over. Whenever you have a bike, you know, fairly apart, especially me, I'm kind of scatterbrained, and then especially I'm thinking about video stuff too, as well as putting an engine back together. But yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward. A little bit different than the TPI bikes I've done. I would say the hardest part of this whole thing was just getting the cylinder in and out with like the fan in there, the oil tanks. There's just really no room. So that's honestly probably the hardest part. I guess the stupid piston clip. The easy one was easy, but you know, the stock ones that they come with it was a bit of a pain in the ass, but yeah, I mean, It's a two-stroke. They're pretty simple, pretty easy. That's what's so nice about them. And I mean, for 215 hours, and we don't treat these things nicely. They're just, honestly, oil change, air filter, and I mean, if a wheel bearing goes out or whatever, but these bikes, like they don't get much love. They just get ridden hard, put away. Like, it is actually really impressive what these bikes can do. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. I guess hopefully it edits out fine. I guess if you see this on YouTube, I'm somewhat okay, happy with it. Just kind of learning how to do these in-garage edits. Hopefully get a lot better at them, a lot more intuitive. So yeah, hope you guys learned something, or learned something what not to do or whatever. But yeah, that wraps this video up. We're gonna go play around in the yard here for a bit, just work on some balance. I got some cement barriers that I play on, and just a lot of simple stuff that I've been trying to work on to make myself a better rider. But yeah, that wraps this video up. Hope you enjoyed it. Like always, guys, don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. That really helps me out. And yeah, any questions or comments or any tips, tricks you got for me, drop them in the comments, and I would really appreciate that. So yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.